Hello friends. Here is a question that should stop you in your tracks. The Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, released in March 2026, comes with 16 GB of RAM in its top configuration. Many mainstream laptops also ship with 16 GB of RAM. So here is the obvious question. Are these actually the same thing? Is the RAM inside that phone identical to what sits inside your laptop? The number on the spec sheet looks the same, but as soon as you look one level deeper, the story gets a lot more interesting. The type of RAM, how it is built, how it is installed, and whether you can ever upgrade it are all completely different. In this video, we are going to break down exactly why, starting with what RAM actually does on any device. Alright, before we compare phone RAM to laptop RAM, let us make sure we are clear on what RAM actually does. RAM stands for Random Access Memory. Think of it as your computer's desk. Your storage, whether that is a hard drive or a flash chip, is the filing cabinet in the corner. Files live in the cabinet permanently, but when you actually open an app or a browser tab, the device pulls that data out of the cabinet and lays it on the desk, right in front of the processor so it can be worked on instantly. The bigger the desk, the more things you can have open and ready at once. When you turn the device off, the desk is cleared. The filing cabinet keeps everything safe. RAM is fast but temporary. Storage is slower but permanent. Every device, phone or laptop, works exactly this way. Now here is where the interesting differences begin. Now here is where phones and laptops start to diverge. There are two main RAM standards you will see in 2026. The first is LPDDR5X, which stands for Low Power Double Data Rate 5X. This is what goes inside smartphones and thin laptops. It reaches speeds up to 8,533 megatransfers per second and runs at about 1.1 volts. That low voltage is critical because it saves battery life. The catch is that LPDDR5X is soldered directly onto the circuit board. It cannot be removed or upgraded. Ever. The second standard is DDR5, used in gaming laptops. It comes as a removable SO-DIMM stick, the small rectangular module you can slot in and swap out. It runs at about 1.25 volts and starts at 4,800 megatransfers per second, so the trade-off is clear. LPDDR5X gives you speed and efficiency, but locks your capacity at purchase, while DDR5 SO-DIMMs give you the freedom to upgrade later. In the next slide, we will see exactly how this plays out with the Galaxy S26 Ultra alongside a real Ultrabook. So here is where it gets really concrete. Take the Galaxy S26 Ultra, launched in March 2026. If you buy the top-end 1TB model, you get 16 GB of LPDDR5X RAM. Now look at a slim Windows Ultrabook from the same year, like the Dell XPS 14. It also ships with 16 GB of LPDDR5X RAM. On paper, those two lines in the spec sheet look identical. Same capacity, same standard. And here is the part that surprises a lot of people. They share the same constraint too. Both are soldered directly to the board. Neither can be upgraded after purchase. The phone is obviously smaller, fits in your pocket and weighs a few hundred grams. The laptop has a full keyboard, a big display, and connects to external monitors. The RAM number might match, but everything around it, the purpose, the form, the upgrade path, is completely different. This is the key insight from slides 3 and 4 together. Identical labels do not mean identical machines. Next, let us look at how storage plays out across those two worlds. Now let us talk about storage, because the divide here is just as revealing. Phones like the Galaxy S26 Ultra use a storage standard called UFS 4.0, which stands for Universal Flash Storage. The chips are tiny, maybe the size of a thumbnail, and they are soldered directly onto the circuit board. There is no slot, no door, no way to swap them out. The S26 Ultra tops out at 1 TB, and that is it. Laptops take a completely different approach. They use NVMe SSDs, which stands for Non-Volatile Memory Express. These are small rectangular modules, around 22 mm wide and 80 mm long, that slide into a dedicated M.2 slot on the motherboard. On most laptops, you can unscrew a panel, pull the old drive out, and drop in a bigger one. And because the PCIe interface scales up easily, laptop storage can go to 2, 4, or even 8 TB. Two different tools built for two very different jobs. One is optimized for size and efficiency, the other for flexibility and raw capacity. Knowing this will change how you shop, and that is exactly what we will cover next. So let us bring it all together. When you are buying a phone in 2026, the memory sweet spot is 12 GB of LPDDR5X for most people. If you want 16 GB on the Galaxy S26 Ultra, you need to buy the top 1 TB model. Either way, whatever you choose at checkout is permanent. There is no slot, no upgrade path for RAM or storage. When you are buying a laptop, treat 16 GB as your floor, not your starting point. Thin Ultrabooks like the Dell XPS 14 use soldered LPDDR5X, just like phones, so the same rule applies. Buy what you need now, because you cannot add more later. Gaming laptops with DDR5 SO-DIMMs are the exception, where you can swap sticks and expand later. And always check whether the NVMe slot is actually accessible. Here is the mental model to take away. The same number on two different spec sheets does not mean the same thing inside the device. Understanding the type, the form, and the upgrade path is what separates a smart purchase from a surprise. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.